Hello guys, and welcome back to another educational video. For those of you who don't know me, why do I keep doing this in my head? My name is Dominica and I'm a nurse and functional practitioner, and I've battled my own hormonal, thyroid, autoimmune issues. So today I want to talk about how long should fat loss take, okay? And give you kind of honest timelines, because if you are somebody that has seen people lose weight like 20 pounds in 6 weeks and you're wondering why this hasn't worked for you, you are in the right place. One of the reasons why people quit fat loss isn't because it doesn't work. It's just because their expectations of it are way too high. So then they get disappointed and then just think, what's the point? So today I'm going to talk about how long fat loss takes, what healthy progress looks like, and why going slower sometimes can be more beneficial. So one of the main problems is social media, okay? Because obviously it's a highlight reel and everywhere you're going to see, she's lost 15 kilo in 8 weeks, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not against that because it's showcasing people's transformations, but also we need to know the backing story of this people, and your backstory is completely different. Most transformations don't tell you where that person started, whether a lot of the weight that they dropped was water retention, whether they regained it after, and what sacrifices they had to make to get there. And whenever I post client transformations, I always cover all these topics because I want to be completely transparent. And then what people see is just the end result. They don't see the binge eating, endless cardio, the obsession over calories that people get, the poor relationship with food that comes off the back of a really strict diet, or the simple fact that 6 months later, they're back to where they started anyway, because fast doesn't always mean successful. So how fast can people lose weight? Well, realistically, everybody's different, but if you were to go by a rule, it's usually 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. So if you weigh 60 kilo, anywhere between 0.3 to 0.6 of a kilo per week is a good sustainable amount. If you weigh 100 kilos, it would be 0.5 kilo to 1 kilo per week. Obviously, the more you have to lose, the faster you will lose it. But it's important to remember that sometimes you'll lose faster, sometimes you'll lose nothing at all, and sometimes you actually gain some weight, but it's not fat. Especially as a female, your weight will fluctuate. Now, those scales that you've befriended so much, they're actual little liars, and you should not believe everything that they say. One of the things that people really get hung up on and assume is that if the scales don't move, you're not making progress. That is not the case. Just because your scale haven't changed doesn't mean nothing else has changed, okay? Weight fluctuates, and things that can affect your weight is things like your menstrual cycle, if you do your period or you have your period, a poor night's sleep, if you ate late the night before, if you've got DOMS, so delayed onset muscle soreness when you sore from the gym, constipation, hormones, inflammation from eating the wrong things as well. I've had a number of clients lose absolutely no weight for 2-3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they just drop 2 kilos like this. And this is why they get results, because they are consistent and they are trusting the process, rather than thinking that they failed week 1, week 2 because the weight hasn't moved, and then giving up. That's why people don't get to the goal, because they just give up way too easily. What we need to understand is that fat loss is not linear, okay? If it was linear, it would be like this. You're going to have weeks where it goes up, you're going to have weeks where it maintains, you're going to have weeks where it goes down and then up again. That's just part and parcel of it. And focusing just on scales alone is going to really, really hurt you, okay? Emotionally, mentally, physically. So try and focus on other aspects of how you're feeling in yourself. Measurements, waist and hips, okay? Taking photos, how do your clothes feel? There's so much more to it than just those scales. So when your weight moves up, down, left, right, we want to look at, say, an 8-week period. Look at the average, look at the graph, not in 1 week or 2 weeks. We want to look at the graph over the space of 8 weeks, and what is the trend? If it's a downward trend, you are on track, my friend. And obviously, as I mentioned previously, if you have more to lose, you will lose faster. So if you've got 30, 40, 50 kilo to lose, obviously in the beginning, you're going to lose a lot faster than towards the end, because the more you have, the quicker it comes off. And that's because you have larger energy stores. You've got higher calorie expenditure, and obviously more water retention to lose as well. So when you see like a 2-3 kilo drop in your first week, if you're, 8, maybe 90, 100 plus kilo, you're more than likely dropping off a lot of weight initially first. But if you're somebody that's already lean, those 5 kg that you want to lose, that is the tricky part. That is the one that takes a little bit more discipline and a little bit more motivation and a little bit more of sacrifice as such. Now, Why does going too fast backfire? And this is something that not many people talk about, because a lot of coaches out there just want results and they hammer their clients, which is the completely wrong way to do it. So if you try rushing it and lose weight really, really quick, this can result in things like slowing down your metabolism, losing muscle that you've worked so hard to build. You're going to constantly think about food and have a really poor relationship with your food. Then you're probably going to binge. You're going to feel exhausted, and eventually you're probably going to regain the weight, let's be honest. And I know this because I've worked with hundreds of women over the years who are stuck in this cycle. Eat less, lose weight, feel miserable, binge, regain it back, repeat. And it's just this constant cycle. So fat loss shouldn't be a punishment, and it's not something that you should just do once and then again and again and again. It should become your lifestyle so that you lose it once and you don't have to keep losing these large amounts. Yeah, maybe 2-3 kilo when you want to get a bit leaner for your holiday. So let's talk about the timeline that nobody actually tells you about. If you've gained weight over 5 years, it is more than likely that you are not going to lose that in just 8 weeks. And that's completely fine. You just need somebody to be realistic with you and not sell you the dream. If someone wants to lose 15 kilo, a realistic timeline where they don't kill themselves and they still enjoy life could look like 6 months, not 6 weeks. You probably could do it in 6 weeks, maybe 8, but you would just regain it back. So that sacrifice that you've put in, and you gave up all your social events and all the good things and your favourite foods for the space of 8 weeks to regain it all and do it all again, what's the point? I would rather take it slow and steady in a healthy way over 6 months and then actually keep it off forever. Just imagine where you could be in a year's time if you actually stayed consistent. And people think, well, 6 months, a year is so long. No, it's not. In the grand scheme of your lifetime, say 80 years, that is not a lot. It's such a fraction when you actually zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Now, if you compare 6 months of a lifestyle diet versus 6 months of starting over every single Monday, which one would you prefer? So instead of tracking those scales, bin them if you need to, track your photos, track how your clothes fit, track how you sleep, your measurements, your recovery, your mood, literally all the other factors, how you feel in your skin as well. And obviously your confidence as well, because sometimes your body is changing even though the scales aren't, and they can put you in such a bad mood and such a negative mindset that's going to hinder you from progressing further. Now, the goal isn't weight loss, and that might actually surprise you because that's probably why you've come here. When it comes to me and my clients, I don't just want my clients to lose weight, okay? I want them to become a person who can maintain it forever, not just 6 to 8 weeks. Very few people can actually build habits that last them 6 years or a lifetime, because people give up too easily. And that's the real transformation: learning how to eat out, learning how to manage holidays, enjoying birthdays, having takeaways, having drinks with your friends and family, and still staying healthy. And that is freedom. So if your fat loss is slower than anyone else's, please don't compare. Your hormones are different, your stress is different, your life is different, your body is different. And most importantly, your starting point is different. And why we're comparing to other people if that is the case. The only person you should compare to is yourself. The version of you now versus the version of you a month ago, for example. And just remember, healthy fat loss isn't about how fast you can lose the weight. It's how long you can actually keep it off. That is the skill that you need to master. Because I would rather help you lose 10 kilo and it stay off forever than help you lose 20 kilo that will just come straight back on. And if this video has changed your mindset around fat loss and how it should be, then don't forget to give it a like, subscribe for more content like this, comment any questions you might have, and if you want to visit my Instagram, here's the handle @Domblonska, and my coaching page, herhealthcoaching.co. And I'll see you next week.